I'm Jacob Harden. I'm the product manager here at Epson for the SureColor T-Series lineup of printers. Today we're going to talk about the SureColor T-Series line and some of the cool and interesting features that we have within the lineup. So let's go ahead and get started. We have three different sections, starting with entry-level CAD, which is great for desktop use. And this is a model that somebody might put in their home office or in their small office for 3 to 5 people to use and print out some prints on the daily. Then we have the mid-range CAD printing, and this range starts to add in some features like directly print from USB and higher capacity cartridges and some other speed features that are more adaptive to larger work groups. And we're starting to talk about maybe 15 or 20 people using these printers and more possibly. And then production CAD and graphics. So we have printers that are fit for firms who are printing out CAD graphics, technical drawings, and posters day in and day out, and have some features to accommodate that kind of increased workflow and volume. So let's go ahead and start talking about a couple of these models. So the line starts in that entry level with the T2170. Our T-Series lineup starts here at $749. Fairly fast printer. It'll do A1D size prints in about 43 seconds, which, by the way, on spec compared to the HP model in this class is about half the speed to do the same job. So very fast printer, desktop model, it's a 24-inch model. And basically this is the architect who's working from home, needs to print out a couple of sets of blueprints on their way to their meeting with a client at Starbucks. This is exactly what it's designed for. So we have a lot of professionals who are working at home right now, but still need to do these 24-inch wide format prints. This is a great entry-level model for them to be able to do that. Another note on the 2170 is that it has an auto sheet feeder that will still print out on 11 by 17 and 8.5 by 11. So if somebody wants to print their invoices or their menus or different things on this printer, it works as a standalone printer as well for those things. You're not just limited to that 24-inch. So anyway, $749, very affordable, robust features, very capable printer for smaller home offices. The 3170 and 5170 are 24-inch and 36 models that are a little bit faster than the T2170. So the 24-inch model is just a little bit faster than the 2170. And then we have the 5170, which is a 36-inch model that comes with its own stand on there. Very simple to set up, very easy to use. And the 36-inch model with the stand, if somebody is working out in the field, technically they could break down this printer and they could set it up on site and do their D-size prints right at the job site or job trailer that they're working at. So that's great for those construction pros who are doing work right on the site when they're doing these builds. But very great value for a nice 36-inch printer. So T3170X, this is one of my favorite models that we have in the lineup. This is our first cartridge-free T-Series printer ever. So if you've heard of EcoTank, this is the same concept that we've actually put onto a 24-inch printer. It uses bottles instead of cartridges. Now you notice on the screen, it does have a little bit higher MSRP than what we just talked about with that standard T3170, but that is because this model comes shipped with a ton of ink. 2 full bottle sets are included. That's over 1,120 milliliters of ink included in the box. And that is enough to print a lot of posters and a lot of D-size prints. And the nice thing is about having all that ink is that you're not replacing and buying cartridges all the time. New ink bottles for this are about $25 per color when you run out, and each one is another top off of about 140 milliliters of ink. So if you have schools as your customer, this is the kind of printer that every school could use. They can put this in a central office, and we're talking about teachers and admins being able to go and basically print out a lot of different posters and a lot of different materials during the course of the school year or the semester. And lastly, by the way, too, if you look at the slide, you can see that the ink costs vary greatly between cartridge versus, the bottle type models. So about 70% less per milliliter estimated, which is a great value. So if you know somebody that will be printing and they know they will be printing a lot of posters, a lot of different materials in the future, this is a great model to consider to get those benefits by having the ink in the package right up front. So the T3475 and 5475 are 24-inch and 36-inch versions of our T-Series models. These are the fastest that we have in the lineup, and these are also geared to that mid-range CAD, mid-range office of 20, 50 people might be using a printer like this. So a couple features to point out that are geared towards work groups. The first one is these have the capacity to accept up to 700 milliliter ink cartridges. So that's a lot of capacity that will go into these printers, considering work groups might be printing a lot of prints all the time on these. Secondly, they do have USB drives on here where you can plug in a thumb drive and print JPEG and TIFF files directly from thumb drives. So it does have that functionality. And number three, again, these are the fastest printers that we do have in the lineup. So you've got that extra productivity, being able to print a lot of different jobs and having them come out fast. So brand new models. We also started shipping these about 2 weeks ago. And these are great scenarios for mid-range offices and work groups who are printing out these kind of documents. So the T5470M, this is also another one of my favorite printers in the lineup. And that's because our engineers took our fastest T-Series printer and integrated a full 36-inch wide scanner without any additional footprint. And people ask me a lot, they say, why would you want a scanner inside of a T-Series printer? Well, I'll give you one scenario of many, but imagine a construction foreman or a construction manager who is working at a site and somebody brings them down a set of blueprints for the job that they're working on. If they have a carpenter, a plumber, and 3 leads, and somebody else who needs a set of those prints, how would they technically get those prints out to a group of 5 to 10 people? Well, if they have something with a built-in scanner, they can take the full 36-inch wide set of prints, run it through the scanner, and they could print out copies for everybody who needs them right on the site. Another quick scenario is if you have some changes that need to be made to the plans. Somebody could mark up their documents, they could scan these into the scanner, send them back to the architecture firm, have them make the changes, and send them back over and print new jobs right on the site. So lots of different ways that somebody can use an integrated 36-inch scanner. 5470M also has some integrated security features. It does have direct USB to print files directly off of USB. And also, again, our fastest printer is this one right here, but it has that built-in scanner on it. So it does D-size prints in only about 22 seconds. So a good go-to for a lot of people because this printer has a lot of functionality. So that's the T5470M. So we've just been through the entry-level and the mid-range CAD models. I want to talk to you about 2 very cool features that T-Series has. The first one is the ability to connect directly to an Epson document scanner. So you can do 8.5 by 11 enlargements into 24-inch and 36-inch wide posters. I can't think of any other easy way to take an 8.5 size document and turn it into something that is that large. Basically, you plug in the scanner, if it's compatible, directly through just a single USB, a single button touch on the T-Series printer, and it'll feed whatever you put into that Epson document scanner and translate it into that big 36-inch wide high-quality poster. So cool feature that Epson's able to leverage because we make those document scanner modules as well. And the second one to cover is the ability to print directly to the printer from mobile and from a tablet. And this is great in situations where you might not have an internet connection if you're working out in the field on a technical project, or if your printer is not directly connected to the network. I can walk up to a T-Series printer with direct print, pair it up with my phone, pair it up with my tablet, and I can send my technical documents and my renderings and drawings and posters right over to the compatible T-Series printer and print these things right off of the phone. So very cool feature, and it also just makes it really easy to use without a computer and get those printings off of your phones and your tablets. So the last section of the line we want to talk about are the production CAD models. So 3270, 5270, 7270, these are 24, 36-inch, and 44-inch models. starting at about $3,000 MSRP. We have a couple of features that make these very fit for the production cab environment. So the first feature is that instead of 4-color, we have 5 colors inside of these T-Series printers. So we've added, amongst the photo, we have a matte and photo black ink inside of this printer. So what does that do? That allows the ability to print on not just matte and technical media, but also to print photographs on photographic glossy media as well. That capability makes these some of the most versatile printers that we have in the Epson lineup. So you can switch between single weight matte and vellum and do all the technical things that a T-Series ought to do, but also you can print photograph quality prints on the T-Series printer right out of this machine. And we at Epson, we get a little bit picky about what constitutes photographic prints, but the prints that come out of this on glossy paper with that photo ink look fantastic. So this adds the versatility to print on photographic glossy media. The second feature of this is the high capacity ink cartridges. So all 3 of these models will accept up to 700 milliliter cartridges. And also too, we have options that you can add on to these as somebody's workflow and their needs change over time. So we'll talk about those in a second. The last feature I want to cover on this, the 3270 through 7270 have the ability to print directly to rigid poster board. So Epson makes 2 sizes of poster board where you can feed these directly into the printer, and they are up to 1.5 millimeters thick, allowing these printers to print out a rigid poster directly from the front feed on the printer. So the inks dry instantly when it does that, and the print comes out, and basically you have a hard poster that's ready to put up on an easel and ready to use. There's no mounting, there's no trimming. Prints that are ready to use on rigid poster board can be printed directly on these models. So also a very cool feature when you step into this line. And then we have tool roll versions for the 36-inch and 44-inch versions of these printers. You know, I get questions sometimes about why you would want to use dual roll, and there's some surprising answer to that. The first one is that if you have multiple teams who are using this printer, let's say you have the marketing department that wants to print photos on glossy a lot, and you have the technical team that wants to print out blueprints on matte paper from time to time. No matter what job you send to the printer, if it has those 2 rolls of media loaded up, the printer will select the roll that it needs to print on automatically. So that's definitely one big benefit of having a dual roll model. The second one is if you have 2 different sizes. For example, I could load a 44-inch because I'm printing giant maps on this, or I could print 24-inch models because I just need a couple sets of blueprints from day to day that I need to get out into the field. You can load 2 different size rolls on this, and again, it will automatically switch between those rolls and pick the right one that it needs to do for the job. So we do have dual roll versions available for these 36-inch and 44-inch printers. So 2 options, I'll just touch on these very quickly. For the production CAD models, we have the ability to add on an internal print server. And this is great because if somebody is printing multiple jobs over and over and over again, the server will allow them to store those jobs right on the printer so they can queue those up without having to go to the computer. Also, too, when you spool a job, it sends it over to the printer and keeps it there until it's ready to spool, so that helps free up network and computers. We also have a PostScript option available, and this comes with a 320 gigabyte hard drive, but it supports the needs that people have for PostScript 3. You know, it is a $1,200 option, but I know that, you know, resellers get asked time from time, I have those PostScript requirements, or, you know, can this printer do that? And the answer is yes. So very complex files such as GIS maps and stuff like that call for this, and we do have an option that supports that, and you can add PostScript 3 onto some of our models. Last option we have is a scanner module. So for the 5270 up to the dual roll versions, you can add on a 36-inch scanner. It mounts right onto the back and the top of the scanner and has automatic menu settings to be able to scan to email and shared folders and various things. So you do have the capability to either at the sale or later on add a scanner module onto some of the models that we do have in the line. And all of our T-Series printers come with the standard Epson 1-year warranty. If somebody has an issue within that warranty period, you can call us up through the tech support line, and we'll send somebody out with parts, usually next business day service, and they will fix it on the site. Also, too, if something happens where they're not able to fix it, we might move to a whole unit exchange, but make sure by these two ways that the printer continues to run even within our standard Epson 1-year limited warranty. Our tech support runs Monday through Friday. Our call center is right here in California, and we have a group of techs who are photographers themselves, who are technicians themselves, who use these printers. The amount of information that they have is very, very valuable, and I've seen them be able to answer some very complex questions. So great tech support Monday through Friday. You can always get somebody on the line to help you out if there's an issue for the printer. Again, the goal is we want to keep these things running. And we also offer the 5-year, the extended Premium Plus service plans as well to keep that coverage going. So we always recommend offering that to make sure that printer keeps on going and we can provide that service for a very long time. So to sum it all up, just 4 points here. The T-Series, we're all about the image quality, accuracy, and consistency. So for an engineer all the way up to an architect or schools or people who are printing out these 24-inch and wider drawings and posters and things like that, we want to make sure it's very accurate and we want to make sure it's very consistent from the 10th print to the 100th print and beyond. So very, very important. Durable pigment ink, which is water, scuff, smudge resistant, very important for the CAD professionals. A lot of different media handling options and a lot of different ink options, including high capacity inks, some super tank options here as well. So very versatile, very accurate, a lot of different options in terms of media. And we want to keep the ink costs low because these kind of professionals are printing out wide and they're printing out frequent. So all those things are very, very important. And that wraps it up for our presentation. Really appreciate it and thank you for your time.